All right, now to our next conversation. Experts believe sustainable infrastructure financing is critical for Nigeria's development. Let's explore the potential of instruments like Sukuk and delve into the effectiveness of existing government initiatives and examine how to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy solutions. Shout out to Band A customers at this point. Join us for this conversation. We have Mrs. Korede Demola Deni. She's Executive Director for the South, the Alternative Bank. It's great to have you. Good morning.
Morning, Ladi. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
Well, depending on where we're looking at the prices from, but at this point, I'm hoping for a fantastic Christmas, even though the inflation numbers and most of the macro data, it's not looking so good, making it a little tough to have that December. But let's look at the alternative energy.
Yeah.
We're seeing Nigerians dealing with, high energy costs at this point.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing the Sukuk platform at this point. It seems to be getting some traction, but it seems there's some lag in embracing it fully. How are you seeing that?
Okay, let me give a little background to Sukuk. I think we started about 2013 with Osun State government issuing a Sukuk to build schools, which they did effectively. And then after that, I think about 2017, the federal government raised money, I think about 100 billion for roads. How has that gone? I think that has been good, successful. But what I see, and I'm not sure is only limited to what you see in Sukuk, is a little bit of what is happening everywhere. Sukuk, by the name, is a kind of way of raising money, but it's strictly it operates under the Sharia, right? When people hear that, they might say, no, I'm not interested. It looks like it's only for Muslims, but no. So, one of the things we all need to do, the stakeholders, is about the awareness. What does this mean for you? And really, when you think about a Sukuk, when you invest in an instrument, in any project, it means you have a stake in that project. You have a right to know what's happening in that project. So I think if people understand, there will be a lot of more embracing of that way of financing. And it's not only the government, we the banks, like the Alternative Bank, we're all doing our bit. But I think we just need to keep on emphasizing that the Sukuk is also another way of raising funds, even for the corporates.
Right. And,
right.
Looking at the corporates and raising funds also for the public sector, how much transparency do we see with this platform?
You see, it's something about doing, when you say Sharia compliant, it's called also ethical banking, right? So there's a lot of transparency. When you say you own something, you own part of something, there's a lot of transparency. So sometimes maybe some people might like to shy away from it because you need detailed information as to what you're doing, right? I'm not trying to say compare it straight to the bonds, but when you do the bonds, which is more like a Sukuk, but it's just that it's not under the Islamic finance principles, the bond, the government is raising money. You probably don't know. When you see a Sukuk road, you know it. You see it there, that look, this road was funded by so-and-so people, So I think it's just for people to embrace that reality that we need to be transparent, we need to be fair, and in Nigeria, those are the things we're all trying to cultivate as a habit until we get there. But meanwhile, all stakeholders must push to make sure that we get.
We've had comments, in some quarters that they feel like the government is not taking advantage of other, funding sources at this time. I would like to get your view on that. Is the government getting more creative, with where they raise funds from?
I think they are, because there's been the PPP projects, there's been the presidential PIDF, right? And the government actually raised money for the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the the Niger Bridge. But how long did it take? The issues are, what I say to everybody is, these things are laudable, but the Nigerian factor also makes it not go well. It took so long to conclude those projects, and I don't know, can we even say the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is completed now?
What part
cost
of the road
overrun, and things like that. So I just think these are laudable projects, but the execution, again, is really where we have to watch.
Right, and do you see the government embracing more, Sukuk funding source?
I think they will. There's already some information that we're going to have some between now and January, and I think the paperwork is going on. I think
looking at 2024 at this time, how would you say has there been improvement with adoption of Sukuk if you compare that to maybe say 2023 or a year before that?
Definitely. You might not see it on the large scale you want to see, because even us as bankers, we also sell Sukuk to our customers. Put your money in a Sukuk. For those, you understand. What we need to see more that we haven't seen, when the Sukuk is first issued, it's primary. There can be secondary. That's an active market. The FMDQ is trying to promote that, but is not yet active. So you see that when people have investments in Sukuk, they hold it to maturity. You can do a lot with it. You can go and get money. So, you can do a lot with it, but people now hold it. But that's part of the awareness we're talking about. When people know that, look, if I run into any trouble, this is an asset. It is an asset. And those are the things we need to get people to understand.
Right.
And probably with also the government.
And I did, mention, high energy costs. A lot of consumers are reeling under, high tariffs at this point. And also if you're trying to power, generators, petrol price is really high. So looking at affordable energy, at this point, what's the way forward, going into 2025?
The way forward again for me is all stakeholders. I'm not an advocate of the government doing everything, but they would do something. They will provide maybe some concessions. The banks provide, my bank, for example, we're very high on alternative financing. If you come, we can give you facilities to run you through between 2 and 4 years. We also let you understand how good it is for you, how you would save money. Some people say you don't save money initially, but you save money over the long run. So I think all stakeholders come together, the government, concessions, the banks, awareness, let people know. Because, when people are all complaining about, the generator, the this, and these are also clean form of energy. So you're also contributing to a cleaner environment. So, well, for me, I think it's something that should be embraced. We have seen the advantages over time, and I think for the country, it would also be good.
Right, and when we talk about affordable at this point, we know the central bank has been looking to tame inflation, raising rates, and we've seen interest rates at levels we've not seen in a long time, and inflation is still, a headache. At this point, looking at the numbers that came out yesterday. So how much of the interest rate hikes, how does that impact, what's playing out with Islamic lending facilities?
Okay, the truth is that we're in the same environment, so we don't expect anything fantastically different, right? But the reality again is we have some structures that maybe you could say are more preferable over a structure from a conventional bank, because some of our structures, for example, as the interest rates are rising, we don't move our markup rates like that, because in Islamic banking, you're not looking at money for money. You're looking at money, you want money to buy an asset, to improve your lifestyle, to improve wealth and all that. So that's a bit of an advantage in that sense. And I know people like to see exactly what you're giving up to get the asset you want to buy. So, I think some advantages overall, and I think the Islamic financing, especially for alternative banking and for alternative financing, is very good for alternative energy.
I'd like to also get into your industry and the kind of conversation you guys are having in the financial services industry. How are you guys looking at inflation? How are you looking at interest rates? Do you think this will be with us for the longest time in Nigeria? High interest rates, high inflation.
Okay, and this is, you see how we're looking at it. Maybe let me say this is a personal view.
Right.
For me, I think that we're almost getting to the end of the high interest rates. I had thought, for example, by the time this last report came out, we should have seen a slight dip, but I didn't see that. But I think as some of the policies of the federal government start getting into, into place, we'll start seeing it. For example, I didn't mention the Consumer Credit Corporation. There's a lot they're doing around the CNG, giving people facilities through banks to make sure they embrace alternative energy. So that, you know, by the time those things start seeping, it's slow because, like I tell people, the economy wasn't bad in a year. It took so many years. So it's going to take a lot of patience, a lot of hope, and all of us doing the right things, not just the couple.
All of us.
All of us.
Nobody left out. No, we all do the right thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Great to have you presenting, Mrs. Korede Demola Adeni, Executive Director to the South, and that's the Alternative Bank. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you, Ladi. Thank you, Channels.
Thank you. All right, so the markets are open. Right now, we'll give you a summary of what's playing out on Business Incorporated. That's by 1 p.m. We'll see how your money is performing. Thanks for watching. I hand things over to the Sunrise Daily team.